The Road of Death. In the heart of Bolivia, among breathtaking mountainous landscapes, lies a road that has earned a terrifying reputation worldwide. Known as the Yungas Road, or more popularly as the Road of Death, this winding path has challenged drivers for decades, claiming the lives of thousands in the process. This road, connecting La Paz with the Yungas region, is a mix of extreme danger and stunning views that few places on Earth can offer. From its beginning, it ascends, winding through mountainous terrain that seems to defy the logic of any human construction. Its highest point reaches an impressive altitude of 4,651 meters above sea level, where the clouds seem to touch the ground. But what makes this road so dangerous is not just its geographical location, but also its structural features. At its narrowest point, the road is only 3 meters wide. Without protective barriers separating vehicles from a cliff that extends more than 600 meters into the void, any mistake, however small, can be fatal. Imagine driving on a narrow strip of land where a slight deviation to the right or left could mean the end. And as if that were not enough, the road surface is mostly composed of dirt and gravel, increasing the risk of landslides and skidding, especially during the rains. Speaking of rains, the weather in this region also plays a crucial role in its peril. Humid winds from the nearby jungle collide with the mountains, creating dense fog that reduces visibility to almost zero. Torrential rains are frequent, turning the road into slippery mud and triggering landslides that can completely block the path or, worse yet, drag vehicles into the abyss. Even on sunny days, conditions are not necessarily favorable. The dust raised by moving vehicles can obscure the view, and the road's edges are so unstable that even a simple extra weight could cause a collapse. During the 1990s, this road gained its darkest reputation. According to records, between 200 and 300 people lost their lives annually trying to cross it. Vehicles packed with passengers, trucks loaded with goods, and daring motorcyclists have all fallen victim to this treacherous path. Crosses and small altars along the road are a silent testimony to the lives lost here. Despite its danger, the Yungas Road remains a vital link for local communities. For years, it was the only route connecting the rural areas of the Yungas with the Bolivian capital, transporting not only people but also essential agricultural products like fruits, vegetables, and coca leaves. The need to use this route was so great that, for many, the risk was simply an inevitable part of life. In 2006, an alternative and safer road was built to divert main traffic, significantly reducing accidents on the old route. However, despite the existence of this new road, the Road of Death still attracts some drivers and, surprisingly, a growing number of tourists. Adventurers from all over the world come to Bolivia specifically to experience the adrenaline of traveling this road by bicycle or vehicle. For them, it is a mix of excitement, challenge, and respect for the history of this deadly route. Today, the Bolivian government discourages the use of the original road for everyday transportation, but its legacy remains. It is a somber reminder of what happens when nature and human engineering are in constant struggle. The Yungas Road is not just a dangerous road, it is a symbol of resilience and bravery for the communities that depend on it. Each curve, each precipice, and each altar tells stories of survival and tragedy. And although its fame as one of the most dangerous roads in the world remains intact, it is also a testament to the human spirit in the face of the most extreme adversities. The Cave of Crystals. Deep beneath the earth, in the heart of Mexico, lies a natural wonder that seems straight out of a science fiction story. The Cave of Crystals, located near the Nica mine in the state of Chihuahua, is a place where nature has worked for hundreds of thousands of years to create something extraordinary. However, despite its impressive beauty, this site is also one of the most deadly on the planet. Discovered in 2000 by miners extracting silver and lead, the cave astonished the world with its enormous selenite crystals. These crystals are the largest ever found, reaching lengths of up to 12 meters and weighing more than 55 tons. Imagine an underground space where these massive formations rise like luminous columns, reflecting light in an almost magical spectacle. At first glance, it seems like a place fit for a scientific expedition or a movie set, but the reality is that the Cave of Crystals is as dangerous as it is impressive. The cave is located just above an active magma chamber, explaining its extreme conditions. The temperature inside this space can reach 45 degrees Celsius, and the relative humidity climbs to 99%. These conditions make the cave a hostile environment for humans, as the combined heat and humidity severely hinder the body's ability to cool itself, leading to heat exhaustion within minutes. Without proper equipment, any attempt to explore the cave could result in death. Scientists studying the Cave of Crystals use special cooled suits and carry breathing systems to avoid inhaling the moisture-saturated air. Even with these precautions, the time they can spend inside is strictly limited, usually no more than 10 minutes. This makes each expedition a race against the clock, where every second counts for collecting data, taking photographs, and analyzing the crystals. But how were these gigantic crystals formed? The process began hundreds of thousands of years ago when the magma chamber beneath the cave heated the mineral-rich groundwater. This liquid, saturated with calcium sulfate, remained in a stable high-temperature state for a long period, allowing the crystals to grow uninterrupted. Over time, the gradual cooling of the water allowed the crystals to reach their massive dimensions. This unique natural process created an underground landscape unparalleled in the world. Despite its inaccessibility, the Cave of Crystals has attracted scientists worldwide. Research conducted here has revealed details about the formation of giant crystals and extremophile life forms. In tiny pockets of fluid trapped within the crystals, scientists have found microorganisms isolated for tens of thousands of years, surviving in conditions once thought impossible for life. These findings not only expand our understanding of extreme biology on Earth, but also raise fascinating questions about the possibility of life on other planets with similar conditions. However, the future of the Cave of Crystals is in jeopardy. After its discovery, the Nika mine continued operating, and the groundwater, which had been drained to allow access to the cave, began to flood it again when mining operations temporarily ceased. Today, much of the cave is underwater, and access is virtually impossible. While this flooding protects the crystals from damage and contamination, it also poses a challenge for future scientific research. The Cave of Crystals is a reminder of the hidden wonders that our planet still has to reveal. It is a place where geology, biology, and chemistry intertwine to create something that defies our understanding of what is possible. However, it is also a reminder of how fragile these environments are and the responsibility we have to preserve them. Exploring the Cave of Crystals is not just a matter of scientific curiosity. It is a journey to the limits of what humanity can endure, a challenge both physical and intellectual. And although very few have had the privilege of seeing it in person, its existence invites us to reflect on the incredible diversity and complexity of our planet and the secrets still buried beneath its surface. The Snake Island. Off the coast of Brazil lies a place few dare to venture. Queimada Grande Island, more commonly known as Snake Island, is a corner of the world where nature seems to have defied all common sense. This small island, located about 35 kilometers from Sao Paulo, is home to one of the most venomous snake species on the planet, the golden lancehead. This snake, also known as Bothrops insularis, possesses venom capable of causing death in less than an hour. At first glance, the island might seem like a paradise, with its tropical vegetation and seemingly easy access from the mainland. However, the reality of this island is quite the opposite. The golden lancehead, a subspecies of the common lancehead, has evolved uniquely due to the island's geographic isolation. This snake has developed more potent venom than its mainland relatives, adapting to its environment and the lack of natural predators. As a result, the island is an extremely dangerous place where humans have no place, except under very particular circumstances. Access to Snake Island is strictly forbidden. Only a limited number of scientists and herpetology experts can obtain permission to visit the island and conduct research. This prohibition exists for a very clear reason. The snakes on the island represent a deadly danger to anyone who sets foot there without the proper knowledge and equipment. While the venom of the golden lancehead is not the fastest acting in terms of lethal action, the speed at which it spreads through the body and the lack of specific antidotes make any encounter with these snakes a life-or-death situation. Despite its danger, the snakes on the island have attracted the attention of biologists and ecologists worldwide. Studying how this population of snakes has evolved in isolation has provided scientists with valuable information on species adaptation and how environmental conditions can influence animal evolution. However, research on Snake Island is complicated and costly, significantly limiting the number of studies conducted there. The myth of the island has also contributed to its fame. For centuries, Snake Island has been mentioned in popular stories and horror tales. The idea of an uninhabited place filled with venomous snakes fuels the collective imagination. It is said that in the past, the island was visited by pirates and explorers, but none survived to tell the tale. These accounts, though exaggerated, have helped solidify the island's image as a mystical and deadly place. The island's physical aspect also plays a crucial role in its danger. Its rugged, rocky terrain makes it nearly impossible to navigate its coast. Dense vegetation and the lack of accessible trails further complicate any attempt to venture into the island. To make matters worse, the island is surrounded by shark-infested waters, making any attempt to escape an even more risky mission. Although Snake Island is uninhabited by humans, the local fauna is adapted to the island's extreme conditions. Besides the snakes, the island hosts many birds, some of which have also developed unique behaviors due to the presence of the golden lanceheads. Researchers have discovered that many of these birds have learned to avoid the snakes through highly sophisticated evasive behaviors. These types of adaptations have made Snake Island a natural laboratory for studying the coevolution between predators and prey. However, the snake population on the island is constantly threatened by climate changes and human activity in surrounding areas. Deforestation and urbanization near the coast can affect the island's ecological balance. Indeed, some conservation initiatives have begun to emerge to protect the island's unique fauna and ensure that the golden lancehead remains a key component of this isolated ecosystem. Despite its reputation as an extremely dangerous place, Snake Island remains an enigma to the world. Its inaccessibility and the constant threat of snakes have made it so that few have managed to explore its secrets in depth. However, those who have had the fortune to study the place have revealed a part of nature that remains hidden from the world's eyes. The island is, in many ways, a reminder of how powerful and deadly the forces of nature can be and how humans must respect those limits if they wish to survive on this planet. So, while Snake Island remains an intriguing destination for adventurers and scientists, one must remember that sometimes the greatest danger is not what you see at first glance but what lies hidden behind the beauty of an apparently harmless landscape. Death Valley. In the heart of California, USA, lies a place notorious for its relentless heat, desolate landscapes, and extreme conditions. This place, known as Death Valley, is one of the most inhospitable and deadly destinations on the planet. Here, temperatures can exceed 50 degrees Celsius, and life seems to have been entirely forgotten. Nature showcases its power, testing human endurance and challenging anyone daring enough to cross its borders. Death Valley is not just a hot, arid desert, it's a true survival stage. Its name originates from the tales of pioneers and explorers who, in the 19th century, tried to cross it, many never to return. This harsh land has witnessed numerous tragedies over the years, with extreme temperatures remaining the primary threat to anyone venturing here unprepared. One of the most striking features of Death Valley is its extremely hot climate. In July 1913, the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth was logged at Furnace Creek Ranch in the heart of the valley, 56.7 degrees Celsius. This staggering figure serves as a reminder of the intense sun that beats down on this arid terrain. The extreme heat can melt asphalt, and even the most adapted animals face significant challenges to survive. Water is scarce and must be sought from underground wells, as rainfall in the region is nearly non-existent. Besides the heat, Death Valley is riddled with other dangers, making it a lethal place for the unprepared. In its desert lands, venomous animals such as rattlesnakes and scorpions pose a constant threat to those crossing the valley. Despite the water scarcity, these animals have found ways to survive in such an extreme environment, adapting to scorching temperatures and food shortages. Rattlesnakes, for instance, hide in rock crevices during the day's heat and come out at dusk to hunt their prey. Scorpions seek refuge in the shade of rocks and dry trees, awaiting their next victim. Death Valley is also home to species that, despite adversities, find unique ways to survive. Plants like the creosote bush, which can live up to 1,000 years, have adapted to withstand heat and drought. The region's flora has developed ingenious strategies to survive with minimal water, with some plants even capable of storing water for months to stay alive. The valley's extreme conditions have also allowed the proliferation of certain animal species found nowhere else on Earth, such as certain types of rodents and birds that have adapted to the intense temperature fluctuations, sometimes ranging from 50 degrees during the day to near freezing at night. Despite its harshness and extreme conditions, Death Valley has a unique beauty that draws tourists and adventurers worldwide. Those who survive the difficult conditions and complete their visit are astonished by the serenity emanating from this desert. The vast stretches of sand and rock, the clear sky, and the stillness create an almost surreal atmosphere. However, this beauty is deceptive, as danger lurks at every step. Scorching temperatures, resource scarcity, and the threat of wild animals are constant challenges for those daring to cross the valley. Death Valley is also famous for its geological formations, true natural wonders. Among them are the Eureka Dunes, some of the tallest sand dunes in the world, and Badwater Basin, the lowest point in North America, at 86 meters below sea level. These geological formations have been shaped over thousands of years by winds and extreme climatic conditions, creating landscapes that seem out of this world. The majesty of these places, combined with the harsh conditions of the valley, offers a unique experience for those who decide to visit. However, despite its beauty and tourist appeal, Death Valley remains an extremely dangerous place. Each year, local authorities have to rescue dozens of people who venture without adequate preparation. High temperatures and lack of water can be lethal within hours, especially for those unaccustomed to desert conditions. Tour guides recommend that anyone wishing to visit the valley be equipped with sufficient water, appropriate clothing, and a reliable vehicle. Additionally, it is advised to avoid traveling during the hottest months, between June and August, when temperatures can reach unsustainable levels. Death Valley, with its extreme climate and constant dangers, remains one of the most deadly places on Earth. Yet, despite its fearsome reputation, this desert continues to attract those seeking to face the greatest challenges nature offers. And while only a few manage to survive the scorching heat and lurking risks, Death Valley remains a place of awe, respect, and fascination for all who dare to confront it. Oymyakon. In the vast and icy landscape of eastern Russia, there lies a place that defies all human logic. A place where the cold is not merely an inconvenience but a real threat to life. This place, known as Oymyakon, holds the title of being the coldest inhabited place on Earth. The small settlement, located in Siberia, has endured extreme temperatures reaching as low as -68 degrees Celsius, a figure difficult to imagine for those who have never experienced such extreme cold. Oymyakon is not just a place of low temperatures, it is a tangible reminder of the limits of human endurance. In winter, the region becomes a desolate wasteland where the air is so dense and cold that even breathing can be challenging. Temperatures drop so low that houses freeze, vehicle engines stop functioning, and daily life slows almost to a halt. The sparse population of Oymyakon is accustomed to living in such extreme conditions, where adapting to the cold becomes a matter of survival. What is most remarkable about Oymyakon is not just the cold but the resilience of those who live there. The town's inhabitants have developed techniques and customs that allow them to survive in this unforgiving environment. For example, the people of Oymyakon never leave their homes without being fully covered in warm clothing, as prolonged exposure to the outdoors can be fatal. Layers of clothing, including thick coats, gloves, hats, and boots, are essential to prevent the cold from penetrating the body and causing irreparable damage. Additionally, houses are built with special materials and adequate insulation to retain heat. But life in Oymyakon is not just about bundling up and staying safe from the cold. Despite the extreme low temperatures, the people of this region have learned to adapt and continue their daily activities. Agriculture, for instance, is almost non-existent since the ground remains frozen for most of the year. However, Oymyakon's residents rely on livestock and resources they can obtain from the natural environment, such as fish from rivers and hunting. Fishing in frozen rivers is a common practice, and the region's inhabitants have become experts at drilling holes in the ice to catch fish. Life in Oymyakon is marked by daily challenges, but residents face these obstacles with strength and determination that seem extraordinary. Children, for example, attend school every day, even when temperatures drop below -50 degrees Celsius. Although winters are long and dark, the community perseveres, and life in Oymyakon continues despite the harsh conditions that prevail in the region. One of the most surprising aspects of Oymyakon is how nature has shaped the environment and how humans have learned to survive in a place where few forms of life could endure. Vegetation is sparse, and the trees that survive are small and twisted due to the constant wind and low temperatures. However, some animal species manage to survive in this extreme climate. These include Arctic foxes, Siberian wolves, and certain migratory birds that have adapted their life cycles to withstand the cold. Despite the adverse conditions, Oymyakon remains a place of residence for its inhabitants, who have earned worldwide respect for their ability to survive in such an extreme environment. The extreme temperatures that lash the region during winter are not only a challenge for people, but also for the town's infrastructure. Roads are covered in ice and snow, and vehicles must be specially prepared to endure the extreme conditions. Drivers often have to install special heaters in their vehicles to prevent engines from freezing. Oymyakon's history is also marked by its isolation. Due to its remote location, access to the region is limited, and only the bravest venture to visit it. The current population of Oymyakon is small, but previous generations have spent their lives in this inhospitable place, passing on their knowledge of how to survive in extreme cold. Visitors who dare to travel to Oymyakon must be prepared to face the brutal cold and the difficult living conditions, including the lack of basic services such as running water and central heating. The record low temperature registered in Oymyakon is -67.7 degrees Celsius, a figure that poses a challenge for any human being. These days, temperatures rarely reach such levels, but the cold remains a constant enemy. In winter, the length of the day is extremely short, and nights can last up to 21 hours, enhancing the sense of isolation. The scarce sunlight and prolonged darkness can affect people's mental well-being, making life in Oymyakon even more challenging. Oymyakon's extreme cold is not just a physical phenomenon, but also a cultural one. The traditions and customs of the region's inhabitants are deeply influenced by the climatic conditions, and the community's way of facing adversity is a testament to their resilience. The people of Oymyakon have learned to value what they have and find ways to overcome the obstacles imposed by nature. Although life in this place is harsh, the inhabitants of Oymyakon have managed to build a united community that has stood the test of time. The village of Oymyakon remains an example of how humanity can adapt to the most extreme environments. Despite the brutal cold and the inherent difficulties of living in one of the most inhospitable places on the planet, life continues. The inhabitants of Oymyakon are witnesses to human strength and endurance, and their story remains one of survival and perseverance in one of the world's coldest places. Mariana Trench. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean lies a place so remote and mysterious that for centuries, humanity could barely imagine its existence. This is the deepest point on the planet, the Mariana Trench. Reaching depths of 11 kilometers below sea level, the Mariana Trench represents one of Earth's last unexplored frontiers. A place where conditions are so extreme that they challenge all human understanding and remain an enigma even to the most advanced scientists. The Mariana Trench is a deep groove in the Earth's crust located near the island of Guam in the western Pacific Ocean. It is estimated to stretch about 2,550 kilometers in length, a distance comparable to the width of a continent. However, the most impressive feature of the trench is not its length but its depth, making it the deepest known location in Earth's oceans. To put this into perspective, the Mariana Trench is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. If Everest were placed in the trench, its summit would still be submerged by over 2 kilometers of water. This underwater abyss is a place of extremes. The pressures at the trench's bottom are so intense that any human or machine without proper protection would be instantly crushed. The pressure in the Mariana Trench is more than 1,000 times the atmospheric pressure at sea level. In other words, any equipment venturing into this environment must be built with extraordinarily resilient materials to withstand the relentless force of the water. Absolute darkness also reigns at these depths. Sunlight does not penetrate more than a few hundred meters below the surface, meaning life at the trench's bottom must adapt to complete darkness. Despite these extreme conditions, the Mariana Trench is teeming with life. In recent decades, scientists have discovered that even in the ocean's most remote and dark places, surprising and unique organisms can thrive. These creatures have developed extraordinary adaptations that allow them to survive in an environment where the temperature is near freezing and the pressure is unbearable for most terrestrial organisms. Some of these organisms, such as abyssal fish and crustaceans, have evolved to have soft bodies that can withstand the pressure without breaking. Others, like certain types of jellyfish, possess bioluminescence, allowing them to generate their own light in total darkness. One of the most notable explorers to visit the Mariana Trench was filmmaker James Cameron. In 2012, Cameron embarked on a historic journey to the trench's bottom in a specially designed submersible. This journey allowed him to descend to approximately 10,900 meters, earning him the record of being the first person to do so solo. During his descent, Cameron documented the strange and fascinating creatures inhabiting these depths and the extreme conditions he encountered. The camera equipment that accompanied him captured stunning images of marine life and the trench's unique geography. His feat was a monumental achievement in marine exploration, opening new doors for the study of the ocean's depths. However, despite technological advancements and explorations, the Mariana Trench remains a place full of mysteries. Each new discovery in the trench raises more questions about life in these extreme depths and how Earth could have formed such deep chasms. Scientists still do not fully understand the geological processes that created the trench or its impact on the rest of the planet. Moreover, many aspects of marine life at these depths remain unknown. What other strange creatures inhabit these deep abysses? How do they survive in such a hostile environment? And perhaps most importantly, How does the Mariana Trench affect the surface ecosystems and life on Earth as a whole? Geologically, the Mariana Trench is a subduction zone, meaning one tectonic plate is sinking beneath another. This activity causes various geological phenomena, including underwater earthquakes and the formation of volcanoes. The trench itself contains underwater mountains and volcanoes as large as those on land, but due to the area's inaccessibility, these formations remain largely unknown. The Mariana Trench also plays a crucial role in regulating the oceans. Subduction zones like the Mariana Trench contribute to the global nutrient cycle, essential for marine life worldwide. When a tectonic plate sinks into the Earth's mantle, it releases nutrient-rich materials that feed the species inhabiting surface waters. In this way, the ocean's deepest areas, such as the Mariana Trench, are fundamental to the health and balance of marine ecosystems. As technology advances, scientists hope to explore the Mariana Trench and its surroundings more thoroughly. Future journeys and expeditions will allow us to learn more about the trench's mysteries. Perhaps one day, all the secrets held by the Mariana Trench will be unveiled. For now, it remains an almost unexplored territory, a reminder of how vast and unknown our planet still is. Skeleton Coast. On the northwest coast of Namibia lies one of the most inhospitable and terrifying places on Earth, the Skeleton Coast. This stretch of land, spanning about 500 kilometers, has been the scene of numerous tragedies throughout history. Its evocative and grim name serves as a reminder of the shipwrecks and deaths that have occurred along its shores, a place where nature has created an environment so unforgiving that few creatures can survive. The Skeleton Coast gets its name from the remains of shipwrecks and animal bones scattered across the sand. For centuries, this area was known to sailors as a deadly trap. Its treacherous waters and severe climate have made this coast dangerous for mariners. Relentless winds, dense fog, and erratic currents have caused countless shipwrecks over time. But the most unsettling aspect is not just the remnants of lost ships but the pervasive sense of desolation and abandonment that envelopes the place. Over the centuries, many ships passing by the coast were caught off guard by thick fog and strong winds, preventing safe navigation. Treacherous waters dragged ships towards hidden rocks or shallow waters, where they became stranded and eventually sank. These shipwrecks left behind a wealth of debris, both from the vessels and the crew members who lost their lives. The skeletons of animals that ventured into the area also contribute to this eerie landscape, creating a unique atmosphere. The coast is part of the Namib Desert, one of the world's oldest and driest deserts. Here, sand dunes reach impressive heights, but life in the region is sparse. Despite the extreme dryness and heat, this desert hosts resilient fauna that has adapted to the harsh conditions. Among the few survivors in this arid land are species of gazelles, desert foxes, and even seals that have found refuge in the cold waters of the Atlantic. However, life here is tough, and few creatures manage to thrive for long. Seals inhabiting the coast exemplify the struggle for survival in this unforgiving environment. Although these animals have adapted to the extreme conditions of the Atlantic Ocean, the scorching heat of the desert and the sharp rocks of the coast pose constant challenges. Seals often struggle to find enough food and water and must face the constant threat of hunters and predators. Despite these hardships, these animals have managed to survive in the region for thousands of years, a testament to life's resilience in the face of adversity. In addition to seals, the Skeleton Coast is home to some of Africa's rarest and most unique animals. The Namib Desert hosts several species of reptiles that have adapted to living in this extremely dry environment. Among them is the famous desert lizard, which has developed an incredible ability to store water in its body and survive in an environment with almost no humidity. Insects adapted to life in the sand, such as the golden scorpion, can also be found, enduring the high daytime temperatures and the extreme cold of the night. One of the most unsettling aspects of the Skeleton Coast is its unpredictable climate. Constant wind and sandstorms make any attempt at navigation or land expedition a dangerous challenge. The dense fog covering the coast for many hours each day drastically reduces visibility, creating an environment where navigators can easily lose their way. In this place, the lack of visual cues and extreme weather conditions can make any escape attempt almost impossible. The Skeleton Coast is also a place where history meets tragedy. During the colonial era, European explorers attempted to explore and colonize the region, but many met their demise at the hands of the desert's relentless conditions. The remnants of their expeditions, along with the skeletons of their horses and animals, can be found along the coast, silent witnesses to the struggle for survival in this inhospitable corner of the world. Despite its reputation as a place of death and desolation, the Skeleton Coast remains a site of great natural beauty. Golden sand dunes, rugged rocks, and the deep ocean create a dramatic landscape that has captivated many travelers and adventurers. The stillness and solitude of this place have also attracted artists, photographers, and filmmakers, who have used the Skeleton Coast as a unique setting to capture the essence of desolation and the unattainable. The future of the Skeleton Coast is uncertain. Although the region is known for its natural beauty and unique history, it is also a place of constant threat to human life. The extreme conditions of this desert and the relentless coast continue to pose a challenge to those who try to explore it. The Skeleton Coast remains one of the most dangerous places in the world, a site where nature reveals its wildest and most lethal form, and where only the strongest survive. As the modern world progresses, this remote place may remain an enigma, a vestige of a wild past and a warning about the hidden dangers of our planet. Lake Karachay. In the heart of Russia, in a remote and nearly uninhabited region, lies one of the most lethal places on Earth, Lake Karachay. This small body of water, seemingly calm and picturesque, is actually one of the world's most radiation-contaminated areas. What was once a popular spot for locals and tourists has transformed into a highly dangerous site where just a few minutes of exposure can cause irreparable harm to the human body. The story of this lake is a grim reminder of the hidden risks we face when humanity manipulates nature and the power of science. Lake Karachay is located in the southern Urals, a mountainous region that, on the surface, shows no signs of the tragedy hidden within its waters. However, its history is marked by a series of decisions that turned this lake into a dead zone. In the mid-20th century, during the Soviet Union era, the Russian government decided to use Lake Karachay as a dumping ground for radioactive waste. Over several years, tons of nuclear waste were poured into its waters, contaminating everything around it. This decision had devastating consequences that still affect the region today. During the Cold War, the USSR was compelled to develop a series of secret facilities to handle radioactive material and waste from nuclear plants. In an attempt to hide the magnitude of this waste and prevent the international community from discovering the contamination, the Soviet government decided to dump large amounts of radioactive waste into Lake Karachay. At that time, waste treatment technology was not advanced enough, and the long-term effects of radioactivity on natural ecosystems and human health were not fully understood. The contamination in the lake was so extreme that, according to scientists, spending more than an hour near its waters could be fatal. Even the simple act of being close to the lake for a short period could result in a dangerous dose of radiation. Studies conducted at Lake Karachay have shown that exposure to low levels of radiation can cause cancer, skin diseases, and genetic mutations, which can be hereditary. In the subsequent decades, Soviet authorities tried to hide the evidence of contamination, but the truth about Lake Karachay soon came to light, albeit at a high cost. In 1990, scientists discovered that the lake emitted a lethal dose of radiation, enough to kill a person in just 50 minutes. The radioactive contamination had reached such high levels that the flora and fauna in the area nearly vanished. The lake's water, once a site for recreation and fishing for nearby residents, turned into lethal poison. In the following years, authorities began efforts to mitigate the effects of the contamination, but these efforts were insufficient. The radiation was so intense that any attempt to decontaminate the area seemed futile. In 2015, the Russian government attempted to take a step towards restoring the ecosystem by covering Lake Karachay with a layer of concrete to isolate the radioactive waste and reduce the spread of contamination. However, despite this effort, scientists believe the damage is already done. It is estimated that groundwater in the region has been contaminated with millions of gallons of radioactive water, potentially affecting future generations. Despite the enormous investment in cleanup, the effects of contamination on the health of people living near the lake are evident. In the Chelyabinsk region, where the lake is located, rates of leukemia and other cancers increased dramatically, leading researchers to conclude that the radiation from Lake Karachay had a devastating impact on the local population. Despite warnings and measures taken to restrict access to the area, some people still venture near the lake, either out of ignorance or sheer curiosity. However, the risks are so high that local authorities have prohibited access to the region, especially near the water. In 2003, the Russian government implemented strict restrictions to prevent people from approaching the lake, but illegal visits remain a problem. The story of Lake Karachay is a reminder of the dangers of radioactive waste and the need for responsible management, as the effects of radioactive contamination can last for thousands of years. Although Lake Karachay is one of the deadliest places on the planet, it is not the only body of water contaminated by nuclear waste. Around the world, There are several places that have fallen victim to human negligence and decisions made without fully understanding the long-term consequences. However, Lake Karacay remains one of the most notorious examples of how radioactive contamination can destroy life and affect generations of people. The legacy of Lake Karacay serves as a reminder that the decisions we make today can have a lasting impact on the future. While some parts of the world have benefited from advances in technology and science, others, like Lake Karacay, continue to suffer from the mistakes of the past. This lake, with its tragic history and deadly atmosphere, remains a symbol of what can happen when humanity is driven by greed and negligence instead of considering the well-being of future generations. The Devil's Pool. Around the world, there are places so dangerous that they seem to challenge us to get closer, while at the same time reminding us of how fragile we are as human beings in the face of nature. Among these extreme and stunningly beautiful places lies the famous Devil's Pool, located at Victoria Falls, one of the most breathtaking natural wonders on the planet. This pool, located right at the edge of the world's most spectacular waterfall, is a place where people take the risk of immersing themselves in its waters to experience the unique sensation of being on the verge of falling into the abyss. However, the Devil's Pool is not a place for the reckless. Located on the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, with its stunning 108-meter drop attracting millions of tourists each year. But what many don't know is that in a specific area of the falls, there is a natural pool where tourists venture in, defying the deadly waterfall just a few meters away. This pool, known as the Devil's Pool, is incredibly dangerous, yet it remains one of the region's most intriguing tourist attractions. The pool is located on a rock right at the edge of Victoria Falls. At first glance, it seems like a paradise, with calm and clear waters inviting visitors to take a dip. However, what isn't immediately visible is the imminent danger lurking for bathers. The pool is located at a critical point, right at the edge of a massive waterfall that drops from a great height, creating one of the world's most imposing cascades. While the pool itself is relatively calm, the risk of falling into the cascade is always present, making this place a challenge for the bravest. What makes the Devil's Pool even more dangerous is the unpredictable behavior of the water currents during the rainy season. From January to June, when the rainy season affects the region, the water flow increases significantly, and the currents become much stronger. This change in water flow can push bathers toward the waterfall, greatly increasing the risk of falling. During this period, tourism authorities strongly recommend avoiding the pool, as the turbulent waters can drag people into the void without warning. However, during the dry season, from August to December, the waters of the Devil's Pool become calmer, and the pool becomes a relatively safe place for those daring enough to enjoy this unique experience. During this time, tourism authorities provide experienced guides who accompany tourists and teach them to swim safely within the pool, ensuring they stay away from the dangerous edge. For those who have the courage to enjoy the pool, the experience is overwhelming. Being at the edge of one of the largest waterfalls in the world, with only a thin layer of water separating bathers from the abyss, creates an adrenaline rush that is hard to find anywhere else on Earth. Despite the risks, the Devil's Pool remains a popular destination for tourists seeking to experience something truly unique. For many, the opportunity to swim in this pool and enjoy the breathtaking views of Victoria Falls is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. However, this place also serves as a reminder that, no matter how beautiful the landscape, nature always holds the power, and any lapse in attention can result in tragedy. Tour guides in the area always warn visitors about the dangers of getting too close to the edge and emphasize that there is no room for error. The Devil's Pool is a testament to the beauty and ferocity of nature, a place where humans come face to face with the power of earth, water, and wind. In addition to the risks posed by the pool itself, another important factor to consider are the animals living in the nearby waters. Although the area is known for its natural beauty, it is also home to dangerous creatures such as crocodiles and hippopotamuses, which inhabit the Zambezi River that feeds Victoria Falls. These animals, often invisible to bathers approaching the pool, pose a significant risk. Hippos, for instance, are responsible for more human deaths in Africa than any other wild animal, and their aggression can put unsuspecting tourists in very dangerous situations. Furthermore, crocodiles, expert ambush predators, may be lurking in the nearby waters, waiting for an opportunity to strike anyone who ventures too close. In this context, the Devil's Pool is not only a place of breathtaking beauty but also a reminder of the challenges posed by Africa's wild nature. Despite all the precautions taken to ensure tourist safety, there is always an inherent risk when interacting with such an unpredictable environment. The tour guides accompanying bathers are trained to react in emergencies, but authorities always insist that tourists follow instructions and avoid unnecessary risks. Although the Devil's Pool is a spectacular place and a unique attraction, it shows us the complex relationship we have with nature, one of admiration and respect, but also of caution. The beauty of Victoria Falls and its hidden pool at the edge of the waterfall reminds us that, while we may enjoy some of the world's most stunning landscapes, we must never forget that nature has immense power, and that when we least expect it, it can change the rules of the game. Throughout this journey through some of the most dangerous places on the planet, we have witnessed the vastness and unpredictability of nature. Every corner of the earth holds secrets and wonders, but also dangers that challenge our existence. The Devil's Pool, the Yungas Road, the Lethal Caves, and so many other destinations show us the thin line between beauty and risk. They invite us to reflect on our vulnerability in the face of nature's magnitude and the importance of respecting its forces. While curiosity and the desire to explore are inherent to our nature, it is always wise to remember that some places, no matter how fascinating, must be approached with caution. In the end, Earth is an amazing place, but also a constant reminder of our fragility.